We are on the play for round 3. We do have a double Ledge Seeker hand with 2 islands, and then some very nice support cards, so I'm not going to mulligan this hand. This is a hand that almost certainly wins if we draw a third land by turn 3, and even if we don't, we have so many cheap spells that we should be able to do something. I certainly think that Cathedral Sanctifier is very playable in this format. You can trade with so many 1 toughness creatures and you get 3 life to boot, so this card wouldn't be good in a lot of other limited formats, but I like it in this one. And let's see if we can draw a land now. No, we drew a Banishment. Yeah. I think I have to cast it, but I'm not really happy about it. The fact that he gets another 3 life is not the problem, and maybe he doesn't have all his lands yet, but of course we aren't really getting ahead on the board by not playing a land and casting a Miracle instead. But thankfully we drew this, and he didn't have a better drop than the Sanctifier, so both of these are very good for us, and now we can start casting our Ledge Seekers and hopefully beat him down from 26. There's also a possibility that he just doesn't have a very aggressive deck. Okay, I don't get why he isn't attacking here. You can't block Ledge Seeker with Cathedral Sanctifier, so I suppose I could have cast the Swamp first, played the Swamp first, but I can't play around Righteous Blow anyway. And of course I need to get in as much damage as possible, so I don't have any other line of play that doesn't put the Ledge Seekers out there. One could argue that I could have kept the Vanishment in hand, but I think the denying him his land was probably a good idea, so somehow we are quite ahead on this board because all he played was a Cathedral Sanctifier twice. So if he doesn't play a removal spell here, we might have to worry about Terminus. So I'm not going to play any of my other creatures. They aren't really necessary to win this game, and I don't want them to die. The fact that he's casting Seraph of Dawn instead of Terminus makes me believe that he doesn't have it, so I can just continue to play a regular game now. It's possible that he has Peer from Reality here, Peel from Reality. But that's one of the strengths of Peer from Reality. You can't really play around it, and it just has this effect on the tempo of the game. Now I'm just going to tap out. I believe he doesn't have Terminus, and my creatures aren't the greatest anyway. Okay, this is really weird. He had a Cloud Shift, but didn't Cloud Shift his Seraph of Dawn when I tried to kill it with Deathwind. I'm not really sure what's going on here. It's always easy to believe that your opponent has made a mistake, but I've found that these are the points where you often overlook something because it's just very easy and reassuring to just put everything your opponent does on him making mistakes, but then you miss a large percentage of plays that make sense from his perspective but not from ours. But in this case, the fact that he just cast the Cloud Shift without a very good reason on his Sanctifier makes me think that this probably wasn't the best course of action for him. Okay, well, but now we see at least one reason why he didn't want to Cloud Shift his Seraph of Dawn, simply because he could reanimate it just like our last opponent did. However, I would have still kept the Cloud Shift in hand in this case. It's still better to save Seraph of Dawn from something that might happen to it instead of gaining 3 life off the Cathedral Sanctifier. Now this Crippling Chill is of course a very nice tempo play here. I don't know if I should put him on another Cloud Shift and not attack with Butcher Ghoul because of it. In the worst case, he blinks this one. That doesn't sound too bad. If he makes his Seraph 2/4 again, I'm also quite happy, so. Okay, this is also more than fine. We can keep in mind that our opponent has quite a lot of tricks. We already saw a Cloud Shift and Zealous Strike. Yeah, this is probably overextending. I mean, this is not going to untap. Yeah, I'm not going to play anything. He has a blue-white deck and 2 Ledge Seekers to worry about, so it's not very likely that he gets out of it. I'm just kind of scared of Seraph of Dawn. A 4-power Seraph of Dawn is just very difficult to raise if he has the answers now. But I think the most likely answer is a mass removal spell. So if he has a Terminus, I want my Gryff Vanguard in hand, of course. Now we are playing against the white cards and islands, so we don't know much about what's going to happen. Maybe we want the Grave Exchange again. But now our opponent isn't playing as many equipments as the last guy, so we hopefully don't have that much of a problem against a single Seraph of Dawn. However, he's probably playing quite a lot of flyers, so both Haunted Guardian and Galvanic Alchemist aren't the greatest cards to have. So I think simply because he has Defy Death and the potential to build a 4/6 flyer makes Grave Exchange a good card. And it's either one of the defensive creatures or the second Geist Snatch. Second Geist Snatch on the draw is of course quite slow, Sadly, he didn't show us many cards, so we never know how good our creatures are really going to be. So I believe the Alchemist is pretty underwhelming if he doesn't have a lot of ground creatures. And I believe that he probably is going to play into my Geist Snatches from what we've seen. So it's either the Guardian or the Alchemist here. And let's keep in the cheaper card. It's possible that he plays cards like Spectral Prison. Then we would want the untap effect of the Alchemist, but Haunted Guardian is also fine. And this hand is nice. Our opponent is going last, so we don't get the card, but we can develop our board quite nicely. Which makes it bad that we have a defender instead of a 1/4, but that's okay. Being on the play makes Geist Snatch much better. Now the plan is to just drop Ledge Seeker and then hopefully keep up Geist Snatch as well as the Smuggler, and then we can counter his 4-drop if necessary and protect all of our creatures. And even if we don't draw lands, it's quite likely that we draw a card we can play next turn. It looks like our opponent isn't doing anything. And we drew another 4-drop, so we aren't going to do anything else either. But we are the side of the board with the Ledge Seeker, so as long as we draw a 4th land at some point, we should be fine. And Corpse Trader should also help to make sure there's nothing dangerous coming our way. The worst thing to happen is probably a Seraph of Dawn, and even then we are racing quite nicely. Okay, he doesn't have a fourth land either, so every turn where we both don't do anything is good for us, and we probably have the same amount of lands in our deck, so drawing a land first, certainly good. And we did draw a swamp, which is very good. And now, funnily enough, we have both the option to drop one of our creatures and to keep open Geist Snatch. And in fact, I'm going to keep open Geist Snatch, with the reasoning being that if he doesn't draw a land to cast a creature, well, a good creature, then we are winning this game easily anyway, simply because we have Ledge Seeker in hand and he doesn't do anything. We have Ledge Seeker in play, sorry. But the best thing that he could have is actually Seraph of Dawn. So I want to see what he does with his 4th land before I decide to drop one of my creatures. And it doesn't really matter that I could attack with these creatures, because I'm winning the race as is, and he has all these jump blockers and could, as I said, if I drop Corpse Traders, he could drop Seraph of Dawn, and then I might be off worse than I am now. We have seen that our deck is kind of bad against kind of bad against the angels with equipment. I think I should have blocked here because I had the smuggler to just blink the guardian, but I just thought about the fact that he has 8 cards in hand and wants to get rid of his Zealous Strike, so that's why I didn't block. But I don't think that taking 1 damage is a problem here. Now Vanishment is a nice card because I know that he doesn't have a 4th land, and vanishing one of his Sanctifiers is going to allow me to drop a 4-drop. Without any danger. I was basically in full control of this game even before the miracle, but now I don't have to play so passively. Okay, 2/3 flying Sanctifier. I doubt that that is going to raise us. I don't think there's any cards in this format to get out of the situation our opponent is in. So we're just going to finish this. Okay. It doesn't help that he never drew a 4th land, but yeah, what can you do? Now he's on 6 and I have a Ledge Seeker, but well, I don't think he has Peel from Reality. He hasn't shown it. So if I draw the land for Grave Exchange, I'm attacking for lethal. If I don't, I'm attacking for lethal next turn anyway, so yeah, I think I can try to go for the kill here. I've been patient enough, I believe. Oh, that's a nice card. I can't even cast it, so my plans don't really work. So now basically he could Miracle Terminus, and then I drop Lone Revenant. Yeah, sorry, this game was quite unexciting, but I also think that the double Sanctifier Call to Serve Cloud Shift Zealous Strike deck is not really set up to beat me, simply because the mileage he gets out of his cards drops so rapidly as the game goes on. Sanctifier is a good card against aggressive red decks, but not against blue-black control decks. And I think we managed to draft a fine blue-black deck. Basically, it's a blue deck using some of black's removal as support cards. Ledge Seeker has shown to be quite powerful as an offensive weapon, even in more controlling decks. We didn't see the Smuggler in action. It's possible that I could have won the game, which I lost to the Equipped Angel, by keeping the Smuggler around, which, well, in retrospect, could have been the better play to, well, simply because I could have drawn into my Gryff Vanguards. So we didn't see that card in action, but I think we saw how a control deck can look like in this format. I think that the decks are very powerful and very fast, so I always try to focus on my curve as much as possible, and that means usually not more than 3/5 drops and maybe 1/6 drop if necessary. But this is the most important thing I learned about Avacyn Restored Limited so far. I'm Simon Goertzen. You're watching my Simon Says series on mtgoacademy.com, and I like to hear what you think. I want to read your comments, and I'm planning to bring you much more Avacyn Restored Limited stuff and videos, and see you next time. This is Simon Goertzen signing out.